All right, guys. So my name is Ray. I am your host for tonight. I am super excited that we're here and we're going to get right into this. So I'd really like to share my story first. Just so you know where I'm coming from, I have an autoimmune disease. This is what I accomplished on plan. Let me get that moved over so you can see that. So I have an autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's, which makes me have hypothyroid in layman's terms. If you have an autoimmune disease, why don't you leave a 1 in the chat, or something like PCOS or something that you can't control, right? It's like that moment where you feel like your body just doesn't get you and you're like, we're trying to do this thing and you're fighting against me, and it's really, really frustrating. It's hard enough to want to lose weight when you need to make those changes and learn some things, and it's even harder when your body's like, yeah, so like we're not going to be doing that. So I went for a really long time without being wasn't sure what was going on. Finally got diagnosed. 10 years later, my doctor count went up to 22, and never found someone who could say, here, like, this is the thing that's going to help you be healthier. This is the thing that's going to help you lose weight. So I walked around looking like the person on the left for a very long time, which wasn't just a physical thing for me. There was a lot of emotions tied to that. All the trauma and all the different things that can cause an autoimmune disease to begin with just played a part in this issue that I had. That wasn't just the way I looked, but it was also the way I took care of myself, or lack thereof. It was the way I felt about myself, the way I thought about myself. I was not kind to myself, and that started to just show up on the outside. So when I heard about this plan in 2013, I made every excuse in the book of why I wasn't going to do it, and why it wasn't going to work for me, and why I didn't want to invest in my health and all of that. And I pushed it off for 3 years. All of my friends around me were losing weight. A doctor that I worked with was advising people to do it. And I just thought I knew better. And you know what? It just wasn't the right time, right? So in 2016, a girl came to my salon and I was like, oh my gosh, you look amazing. And she's like, yeah, I lost 25 pounds. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did you do? Because I did every diet that I came across besides for this one. Never had any success. So I'm extremely frustrated and very skeptical. And she tells me it's this plan. And I'm like, you know what? I'll do it for a month. I'll chalk it up to another experience. I won't lose any weight because my body fights against itself and I have to take meds every single day. But hey, you know what? I've got nothing to lose but actual weight. So I do it. I get started, and I lost 11 pounds my first month. So our average is 10 pounds a month. My husband, on the other hand, lost 20 his first month. So everybody's very different. If you did the plan, shoot in the chat how much you lost your first month, just so our newbies can get an idea of what the wide range is. And remember, we don't compare ourselves to anybody. We are who we are. Our journey is our journey. But 11 pounds for me blew me away. And so I kept going. And I lost a little bit slower than other people because, again, I have chronic inflammation. I've got a lot of issues. I've got gut issues. I don't sleep well. I run the full gamut of chronically ill. But I lost 60 pounds in roughly 7 months, and that was in 2016. Can't see my full body here, but the person that you see on the right was a couple of months ago. This was during quarantine. I haven't put any of it back on. I do have to be careful, but this is a lifelong journey. This is not a quick fix diet, and then you can go back to eating potato chips and pizza for snack. This is how am I going to take good care of myself forever? So I hope that my story inspires you, particularly if you have an autoimmune disease or a chronic illness, or you've been that one person where all of your friends will do this one thing and it doesn't work for you. I promise you, you are not a lost cause. This was the thing that I feel like didn't just save my life physically, but saved me emotionally, because losing the weight allowed me to really see what was being caused by the weight and what was being caused by the emotion. And trust me, that's also a lifelong journey. If you're in therapy, there is nothing wrong with that. Hello. But it allowed me to really get rid of all those outside trappings, to really dive deep and say, okay, this is an actual issue. And this was just my feet were hurting me because I had 60 extra pounds on my 5'3" body. So it's really allowed me to make a whole bunch of new connections with new people. It has allowed me to see the world in a different way. It has allowed me to love myself again. And this isn't about size. This was just about respecting myself enough to follow through on something, to see the results, to feel successful, And that just played a part in so many other areas of my life. So I welcome you to just dive deep into this. What would your life look like if you could take off those extra trappings off your body that would then allow you to be your best self? Because the goal here is not to get skinny. The goal here is to be optimally healthy, and that looks different for everyone. So that's my story. I can't wait for you to hear 3 others tonight, but let's go into a little bit about what health is and why it's so important. And this is not meant to scare you in the slightest. I am not the doomsdayer, right? But the problem is that there are illnesses caused by obesity. It's not about just fitting into a smaller pair of jeans. It is not just about being able to run a 5K if that's something you want to do. Like if you see me running, call the police, there is something wrong, you know, like I did not lose any of this weight with exercise. It was all nutrition focused, but everyone has different reasons for why they want to get healthy. But another thing is not just what you want to achieve, it's what you want to avoid, right? So things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, inflammation, type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, stroke, gallbladder disease, sleep apnea, many types of cancer, low quality of life, clinical depression, body pain, and more. Now, I am not saying that our plan can fix these things, right? We are not doctors, we are certified health coaches. But what I am saying is that there are many diseases that people fall ill to or even die from that could have been avoided if their body wasn't in an optimal place health-wise. If they were putting the right things in their body, they might have been able to avoid certain medications. Now, I will say, if you got off a medication, I'd love to see that in the chat as well. Now, I can't say that that's definitely going to happen for you. I can't make any medical claims here, but I can allow you to just see some proof in the making in the chat right here and see some other people who share that, hey, you know what, they were on high blood pressure medication and having lost this much weight allowed them to go off of it. So that's just their personal experience. And again, this is not meant to scare you, but it's just meant to be an eye-opener. There are so many things in this world that could be avoided, and you don't have to have these illnesses. And if you could just get some extra weight off your body and just allow yourself to eat really healthy, then maybe you could have, you know, even better quality of life, being able to walk up the stairs without huffing and puffing, being able to go into a dressing room and buy a pair of pants that doesn't make you want to cry, or just having more energy in the mornings, just being able to sleep better, just being able to, you fill in the blank. What is it that you want to achieve? Okay, so studies have shown that 49% of adults in the United States have tried to lose weight in the last 12 months. 56% of those were women and 41% of those were men. Now, the reason why I share that information is because literally millions of people are either overweight or obese. So millions of people are at risk of developing one of those diseases. And if not one of those diseases, then just not being able to live the quality of life that they want to be able to live, like running after their children in the park. That might be really important to some of you, and you might physically be unable to do that. And so wanting to diet, wanting to lose weight is extremely prevalent on people's minds. It is not just you. And the reason why I say that also is because we have a Facebook community. If you're not in it yet, reach out to the person who added you or invited you to this call and ask if you could be a part of it, because doing this alone has never served anyone well. Doing this together will allow you to have more success, and it will allow you to see you are not alone in your pain. We are all in this together. We all support one another. We cheer one another on. And being a part of that will help you realize, like, you don't have to be in those statistics. You don't have to be part of that 49% that is just on another diet. And then Thanksgiving comes along and everything falls off the wagon. And then New Year's comes along and they're like, I need to do something, right? If you could just stop that cycle, if you could just lose the weight once and for all, get your mind healthy, get your body and your mind in congruency to do what it takes. And if it means giving up Oreos, maybe you'll be on board with that when you can see the success, you can see the weight coming off, and you can just live a long, healthy life, hopefully, right? That's the goal. So the most common reported methods of losing weight were exercising and eating less food. 62% were doing that, followed by 50% just tried to eat more salads or fruit. I apologize for the typo there. So it's a matter of people just not knowing what to do. A lot of times when I talk to pre-clients and I'm like, all right, so what have you tried? And they're just so frustrated. They've tried all the usuals, and then they've done all the fads, and then they tried to really work out. And like when I was trying to work out 60 pounds overweight, I actually hurt myself. You know, like sometimes it's not about, well, actually most times it's not about just lower calories and higher intensity workouts. It's not about outrunning the fork. It's about what are you putting in? That's where we need to start, right? And then 80% of people who do a traditional diet with no habit change will gain it back within 2 years. Now, again, not doomsday here. I'm not like, oh, well, might as well not try. No, you might as well try something that allows you to not just change your body, but also allows you to change your mind. If we just change what we eat, but we don't change the underlying structure of where we go in stress, where we go in happiness, right? Like if I tell you right now, birthday, the word birthday, put in the chat what word you think of. Let me see. What are people saying? Cake, right? And all the things, alcohol, parties, right? So why is that? We have been socially conditioned, psychologically conditioned to think stress equals chocolate, happy equals cake, party equals alcohol, you know, late night TV watching equals popcorn. Like, what if you could just reprogram yourself? What if you could just not think that way anymore? What if when you woke up, you thought, I need to do something to take good care of myself, not I'm just gonna grab a slice of bread and run out of the house because I'm living a very on the go crazy lifestyle, right? And so if we can learn that under pressure, our underlying structure is to take good care of ourselves, then you won't be part of that 80%. You will defy the odds, which thousands and thousands of our clients have, by losing the weight and then also learning to keep it off. So why is our plan different, right? I keep referring to our plan. Well, why is our plan different? It's because we are not a diet. We focus on lifestyle, habit change, not a quick fix with the focus on the food. You ever notice that when you go to other diet nutritionists, and I'm not here to put anybody down, but other options, and their focus is all food. Eat this, don't eat that, measure this, you know, weigh that, and it's just all food. Well, when you talk to one of us, it's about all the other things we offer. And then lastly, the nutrition. It's just one part. It's not all encompassing, which is what makes us so different. So our plan is made up of 4 components. Number 1 is your health coach, which is likely the person who invited you to this call, and if not, the person who is coaching them. Our community, our education, which is the habit change and the thinking different and the recognizing your whys and learning how to stop, challenge, and choose, and then our nutrition. So I am going to pause right now so that you can hear Kristins' story. As you can see, holy cow, right? And I don't want to say too much because I really want her to have the opportunity to share and have you be blown away by it. So Kristin, you can come off of mute.
All right. Well, good night, everyone. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad you had a picture. So I, in my very, not always very technical way, actually printed a few pictures. I'm going to go old school and hold some up. But my story is that I actually was pretty fit for most of my life. So I have a couple of pictures of me. I'm from a nice and close. So here's me. I'm pregnant with my 4th child in this photo. That's my brother on his wedding day. And after having 5 kids, I was still really active. So here's a picture of me with my son and the same son. You can see there's a big difference in between those two. I loved the younger years. I was in good shape. I even wore my cheerleading uniform for Halloween after having 5 kids. But in between these 2 pictures, a lot of life happened, and I was hit with just a lot of life challenges that were beyond my ability to deal emotionally. Just traumas. There were, you know, various family members. I dealt with death, a car accident where I was injured. I couldn't run anymore for a long time. A family member dealing with addiction. There were all kinds of things just left and right, some mental health challenges. And I just ate my way through them. I ate my way through them so that I could stuff down the feelings I wasn't ready to face and numb out. This may sound familiar to some of you. I'm imagining that I'm not the only one who's ever hidden in the pantry to eat some chocolate chips just so you could go on with your day. Well, after all this time had passed and I kind of got out of survival mode, I looked in the mirror and I did not recognize this person. Like this doesn't even look like me. And it isn't even just what I looked like. I wasn't going to the park with my kids anymore. I wasn't wanting to take them to the pool. I couldn't just sit comfortably on the floor when there were things on the floor, which I have 8 children now, by the way. There are always things on the floor. And leaning over to pick them up, it's really uncomfortable when you have a lot of excess weight. I wasn't running anymore because for every extra pound you carry, that's 3 to 4 pounds of pressure on your joints. And carrying 110 pounds, that's a ton on my 5'4" frame. So I really was feeling stuck and I didn't know what to do. Like the people who lose 110 pounds, those are people on like magazine covers at the checkout. Okay, like I didn't know those people in real life. But then I saw a few people online, and I have to be honest, I Facebook stalked a few people who had done this health program for 2 years. Like 2 years. It was a long time. So if you're one of those stalkers, I feel you. I do. And I just was afraid to get started because, oh my gosh, like, what if I couldn't do it? You know, what if it was too hard? Like I did, if you don't try, right, you don't fail. Actually, you do fail. You only fail if you don't try. And so finally I reached out and I decided to get started because the thing I noticed about the people doing this is that they were losing the weight and they were keeping it off. I knew a lot of people, and I'm not going to knock keto, but in my experience, the people I know who have done keto have done great until they got off of it and then they gained it all back. So that wasn't really a route I wanted to take, but I loved the behavioral components of this plan because clearly it was emotional eating that got me to this place. And if I didn't solve that problem, then losing the weight would only be a short-term solution. Like I needed to be able to figure out what the habits were in my life that weren't serving me, like hiding in the pantry to eat chocolate chips. Like it's good in the moment, but I've since learned when you emotionally eat, you do get a rush in your brain and it lasts 3 minutes. 3 minutes. And then it goes away, but you still are holding on to those calories. And so by working with a coach and learning how to, you know, walk in the door and so when I was early on this program, I walked in the door one day, my kids had kind of trashed the place and I had this instinct like, go eat some chocolate and then you can clean up. And I was suddenly self-aware, right? Like if you're not self-aware, you can't make changes. And I realized that that was a trigger for me. A messy house was a trigger for me to eat. Because then if that was like a reward for myself, like I was like bribing myself to clean up. But unfortunately, it wasn't a bribe that was serving me. Because at the end of the day, I was lethargic, I was snoring, I needed more sleep, I would lay down a lot in the day, I wasn't the fun mom that I used to be, and I felt really bad for my younger kids that they weren't getting the fun mom my older kids had gotten, and my older kids, as they were becoming teenagers, I was not setting a good example for them anymore. And so I finally was able to own that and have the tools to actually make the changes. It surprisingly, it saved us a ton of money. For my husband and I both to be on this plan, we actually have saved money. We were spending so much money on takeout and like just crap food that we have saved money and lost weight. So this was an inspirational picture for me. This was after having 5 kids. I ran a marathon this day. And this is the picture that I think of and what I've been working for. And so this is the most current family photo that we have. We really need a new professional one. We do matching flag tees every year since 2001. But these are the people that I am doing this for, and also including this one, because I wanted to feel good in my own skin. I wanted to feel like I could go back to running. I could go to the pool with my kids. I could have energy for the things that I wanted to do. And one of those things has been health coaching. And not everyone who does our programs wants to coach, but I found I love it. And being surrounded constantly by people who are trying to be their best selves in a world that has a lot of negativity right now has been such a blessing. I am blessed for what I learned from my clients. My family's blessed by the better example that I'm setting. And I love what I learned from my coaching partners. So, like, I know sometimes, and one of my daughters says that sometimes this sounds a little cultish, and I know where she's coming from. But what I explained to her is when you've had your whole life transformed, you do have enthusiasm for something and you do want to give it away to other people, because I know how it feels to be that mom carrying that extra weight, wishing you could be different. And I also know the path to get out of that place and into the one I am now. And I'm excited for the opportunity to share that. It's really changed my life and so many others. So I'm just really grateful and feeling really blessed to be here with you all tonight. So thank you.
Amazing. I think some people were crying in the gallery, I guess, if you want to call it. So that is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. 8 kids, you guys. I mean, first of all, like, that's always just really blew me away. But also the fact that you have such a strong why and such a strong focus, which is so important. And when you have a strong why, you can honestly achieve anything. So that, I would say, would be your first like homework takeaway for tonight. Why do you want this? What do you want? And what are you willing to do to get there? I ask our partners that all the time. It's really great to want it, but if you don't have conviction and commitment over here, you're going to want it forever. So like what is going to take you from here to here and meet together and like, okay, I want this. This is why I want it. This is how I'm going to do it. And that is what your coach will do. Okay. So that's the first part of our plan. The first component is your coach. Like I said, it might be that person who invited you. It might be someone who's helping them, but they will call you once a week for accountability. Now, these are short phone calls. They're like 5 minutes long. They're not a therapy session. They don't replace a therapist. They're there for accountability. How are you doing? Right? How much did you lose? How are you feeling? What did you learn this week? Right? It's that person who's like, I've been there, done that. I'm going to hold your hand and I'm going to walk alongside you. And those phone calls are so impactful and they're just so important. So if you are a client who's not taking your coach's calls, take your coach's calls. They are not there to get you into trouble. They are not there to do anything but accountability. If you messed up, all right, cool. Well, what are you going to do to get back on track? Awesome. I will support you in that, right? Number 2 is our Facebook community that I referred to earlier. And this community is going to surround you with people who care about the same goals as you. Being around people who care about the same thing as you is just ridiculously amazing. There is strength in numbers, right? We cheer each other on. We support each other in a positive, helpful way. We share recipes. We like, you want to celebrate that you just lost this much weight. Look at all the comments like, oh my God, you are amazing. These are strangers that become friends. If you see here on this picture, the bottom left, I did not know a single person besides for the girl in pink because she's my sister. But look at that. You can impact your family and you can meet a whole bunch of strangers that come across you on Instagram and then become your best friends and would literally do anything for you and would come to your parties and would celebrate with you moving forward, not just in weight loss. So if you're just looking for community, you've come to the right place. Now, the Habits of Health system that I refer to as the education was written by the doctor that we work with. He is a triple board certified critical care physician who was all about cutting people open, helping them, work through things, putting Band-Aids on stuff. And he finally just got frustrated and fed up with putting Band-Aids on people. He said, we can't fix everything by getting healthy, but we could do a lot with getting healthy. And so he decided to leave that all behind, his illustrious career. And he just went into how can I help people prevent disease. And the best way to prevent disease is starting with what you put into your body, how much water you drink, what you think, how you talk to yourself. Like that inner voice is much more impactful than I think you realize, right? So the Habits of Health book is going to help you understand what foods to be eating, how our body works, all of that. Once you understand it, you will do it. And then the life book will help you figure out what your true goals are while working on new habit creation, as well as educating yourself on how your body works optimally. So you create that new underlying structure. So when you get stressed out, when your house is messy, when something real life happens, you won't go back to old habits. And I will give you an example just from my own life. I lost 60 pounds. I was beginning to just learn how to eat in optimal health, and my younger brother died out of the blue. And I am pretty sure that if I would have gained all my weight back after that happened, everyone would have understood me and given me some grace, right? Like, oh, her brother died. So of course, like it would have been, I think everyone would have understood that, right? Which is a problem all on its own within society. But I was like, eating, number one, will not bring him back. Number two, how disrespectful is it to his memory and to my grief to think that I could fix it with chocolate chip cookies? And that is the very crux of our plan. If you can't fix it with food, then you may as well feel the feelings. And it actually teaches you to lean into things and to stop running away from them and to stop covering them up with insert your favorite food here, right? The addiction is real, but it does not have to be permanent. Our nutrition plan is the last part of the 4 quarters of our plan, and it is focused on learning 3 habits, okay? Number 1 is hydration. You will learn to get into the habit of drinking more water. I literally walk around with my water bottle everywhere I go. P.S. I drink from glass because it's just healthier for you, so it's just a little tip for you. And so I personally drink 12 cups a day. Depending on meds and stuff, we may advise you to go a little bit less, but hydration it not only helps your skin feel better, your kidneys to work better, cognitively you'll feel better. Our bodies are made up more of water than anything else. So depleting your water intake and not keeping that going isn't good for your body at a cellular level, okay? A way to know if you're hydrated, and this is might be a little kooky, and I'm not 100% sure of the science behind this, but if you take the skin that is on your knuckle and you squeeze it, okay? If it squeezes and then goes back to normal, you're hydrated. If you squeeze this and it stays up and doesn't go back down, you're dehydrated. If you're not using the bathroom often enough, you're dehydrated. If your pee, TMI, is too yellow, dehydrated. You can also overhydrate. So you don't want it to be clear, clear, clear white. Okay, so there's that perfect middle. Who knew you were going to learn about pee colors tonight? But we're here for all the things healthy. So staying hydrated with water, cut out that diet soda, stop only drinking coffee, learn to stay hydrated, okay? Another thing we're going to teach you is blood sugar stabilization. And that is not as hard or as fancy as it sounds, but you will get in the habit of eating smaller meals more often. We eat 6 times a day to keep your blood sugar stabilized and your metabolism working. People think the less I eat, the more I starve, the more my body will have to burn off. And that is not actually true. If you make your body not feel comfortable burning off fat, it will hold on to it for dear life. And that is why the more hungry you get and the less you're eating and the less calories you go and oh, I'm just going to eat nothing, I'm just going to breathe air, that's a problem. And then your body won't feel comfortable burning off fat because it always feels like it's starving. So learning to allow your body to keep itself comfortable burning off fat and keeping your blood sugar stable so you don't have those highs and lows of just oh my God, I just need to grab something because I'm so hungry, is going to allow you to feel more in control. And then you're going to learn portion control. Knowing how much to eat, what to eat is going to give you your power back. And so you're not overdoing it on the French fries and underdoing it on the chicken. We're going to teach you how many vegetables, what vegetables to choose from, what proteins are good for you, and everything in between. And so you might be asking, well, can I do the plan? Right? Well, we have plans for nursing moms, for people who are looking to lose weight, for people who are just learning to eat healthier. They might not need to change anything on the scale, but they know that just being skinny doesn't equal healthy. Maybe they can get away with eating donuts as all their food groups, but that doesn't mean that their energy is good. It doesn't mean that they feel good about themselves, and it might be showing up in their skin. It might be showing up in a whole bunch of other areas in their life, and they might just want to learn how to be healthier. We can teach them how to do that. Diabetics many times are very restricted with the plans that they can do. Our plan works for both type 1 and type 2. And so you are pretty much probably eligible for our plan. You can definitely talk to the person who invited you to this call and get a better idea of what plan would be appropriate for you. So if you are inspired, reach back out to the person who invited you. Let them know that you want to schedule a free health assessment. You want to hear more about the plan. You might even want to just get started. And if you know what, you're not ready for that, ask to be added to our health group that is full of health tips and recipes. That way you can get a little more immersed in what it is that we offer, hear a little bit more of the stories that we have. And maybe at that point, seeing that for a couple of days will then allow you to feel comfortable getting on the phone. But I just want you to know you have hope. I believe in you. I know you can do this, having helped literally thousands of people. You are not an anomaly, and your dreams can come true. And we're going to end off with Jeff and Cynthia Wall, who have accomplished, as you can see, something incredible here. And so I'm going to ask them to come off mute and share their story as we complete this call for tonight.
All right. Thanks, Ray. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I'll go first and then let Cynthia go next. So I'm Jeff Wall. I'm 58 years old now. I started on plan last year at age 57. Had been overweight, have been overweight pretty much all of my adult life. Yo-yo dieter, very active when I was younger, triathlete, and even a personal trainer at one point in my life. And I was able to hold my weight down through extreme exercise. But bottom line is I've really had terrible nutrition habits my entire life, and they definitely did catch up with me. And I've learned through this program that you absolutely cannot outrun the fork. You just can't. So, Kristen, by the way, great, you did great. Great. That was a very inspiring, great story. I do want to say that. So I had known the health coach that got me started on plan. I'd known for about 7 years, and I watched her lose a tremendous amount of weight last year, 108 pounds total in 2019. From January through December, she lost 108 pounds. This is somebody I interact with on a regular basis, and that definitely caught my attention. I was looking for something. I was really not feeling good in life, weighing 242 pounds at 6 feet tall, clinically obese. My doctor had really started to get on me because my blood work was showing signs of insulin resistance and prediabetes, and diabetes absolutely runs on my dad's side of the family, so that was a real issue for me. I did not feel good. As I said, overweight for most of my adult life, well over 200 pounds for most of my adult life, and 242 pounds last year. Not my high point, by the way, but 242 pounds last year when I got started on plan. I recruited Cynthia. I will say that I was interested in finding out what my coach was doing and getting on plan. But before starting on that, I kind of recruited Cynthia because I really felt like it was important for both of us in the household to be pulling together. And I will say that she was more of the skeptic. I can let her get into a little more detail on that. But long story short, we both decided to start on plan. We began November 3rd of last year. I gave a very tepid, so I'm 242 pounds. I used to power lift, and at one point I weighed 215 pounds, and I was carrying a lot of muscle, and I was pretty strong at 215. So my coach asked me how much weight you want to lose, and I just said, 27 pounds would be great. I'd be happy with that. Get back to 215 like I was. I wouldn't have been happy with that. But long story short, I lost 9.8 pounds the first week, and I told her 27 pounds, and I like almost 10 pounds the first week. I immediately said, wow, did I undershoot? I have absolutely got to raise my number. So first thing I did was raise my goal from 27 pounds to 50 pounds. I called that my moonshot goal because that would have put me at 194 pounds. I haven't weighed 194 pounds since probably age 23. And again, I was 57 at the time. I'm 58 now. So we're talking 35 years. And 1 week into this, I was bold enough to say, I'm going back 35 years. I'm going to knock 50 pounds off. And I also said to my coach, by the way, is it too early to talk about coaching? Because this is the real deal. I think I want it just like Kristen. And not everybody wants to coach, but I knew immediately, having been a personal trainer, having worked with people on health issues, I knew immediately this is the real deal, and this is something I want to do. So I'll fast forward. I'll tell you, I hit my moonshot weight goal, 50 pounds in 5 months, pretty much flat. I continued to lose a little more weight. I said, you know what, maybe I'll go just a little further. So long story short, I lost 63 pounds total. 179 is what I'm weighing. That's 5 pounds from what I weighed when I graduated from high school. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine I could lose that much weight, nor feel this good. I'll sum up here real quick and let Cynthia talk. I had a life insurance policy that renewed this year. And so I had to have a very detailed physical done just a couple of months ago after having lost all this weight. And my numbers were just stellar. Literally every single indication, from BMI to 30 different blood panel numbers, every single one of those were in the normal category. I don't think there's any point at my life where I have literally been this healthy. And we're talking 10 months time. So this can be reversed very quickly. So I'm a believer. I'm a believer in the plan. Thanks for allowing me to speak. Cynthia.
Gee, I didn't think I'd have time. I'll say that our entire life together has been marked by various weight loss plans. This time, 33 years ago, we were trying to lose weight to get ready for our wedding, which is at the end of this month. And in between, we have gone on any plan you can think of, we've tried. I don't think I did keto with you, but we've certainly done just about everything else that you can think of. I also knew that I had to lose weight, that it was getting to be pretty unhealthy. I don't have diabetes in my family. I do have high blood pressure and high cholesterol, which has caused some major issues. And I worked in a cancer center and wrote constantly about how obesity related as a risk factor to more than 30 different cancers. So every day when I went into work, I was reminded that I was doing the very thing I was telling people in my writing not to do. And, if you look at the 7 healthy habits that the American Heart Association puts out, weight management and nutrition and exercise are some of the top 3 to lower your risk of heart attack, lower your risk of diabetes, lower your risk of cancer. It's just one of those things you can do that lowers your risk for so many diseases. I knew we had to do this. I found this plan to be more comprehensive, to be had higher value for nutrition, which is one of the things that I really wanted. And it was something that I could actually do without feeling weak, without feeling ill, and with actually gaining energy while I was doing it. So we started. Like Jeff, my initial goal was to lose about 30 pounds. I'm now at 57, and I'm going to go for about 10 more and get into that magic healthy BMI rate. That will be less than I weighed when we got married. So,
and I'm already way less than we got married.
Yeah. So, I know that it's something that works. I didn't exactly encourage him to go into coaching because he was already doing so many things, but I think it's been one of the best decisions that he made to jump in when he did. We've met some really awesome people. We have seen some people we've worked with make huge health gains, come off medications like you were talking about earlier, increase the quality of their lives on a day-to-day basis, go out and play golf in 98-degree weather and have a great time and, have few problems from it that, any healthy person, only the problems a healthy person would have, of being hot and sweaty and tired when they got through. And golly, the recipes and the support from the community have just been phenomenal for us and for the people that we've been working with. So we love the plan. We would recommend it to just about anyone. That's all I've got to say.
And there you have it from the walls. 120 pounds and still going.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much for sharing. We appreciate hearing all the different stories, right? You have different kinds of people, different backgrounds, different issues coming in, different goals. And so I just want you to see yourself in one of these stories. So you can always come back next week. We're going to have a few more stories for you. So hopefully one of them inspires you. And if it doesn't inspire you to make a decision today, hopefully you took something away from it. That is our goal. So thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the person who invited you. And hope you have a healthy and happy month. Have a good night.